Hi everyone. Today we will be presenting a topic based on advantages and disadvantages of Vision 2020. So, without further ado, let's look at our group members. So, for our group members, we have Nur Hairunisa binti Jasmine, Nur Ashura Anin binti Muhammad Nasir, Narjadina Akila binti Raja Abdul Halim, Fatimah Azhara binti Abdullah, and Nur Bakisha Ilham binti Shamsul Ghaffar.
So before we jump into the topics, this is the table of content. First, we got introduction. Second is the 5 advantages of Vision 2020 in Malaysia. Third is a disadvantage of Vision 2020 in Malaysia, and the last one is a conclusion. So before we start, this is the introduction of the Vision 2020. In Malaysia, Vision 2020 or Wawasan 2020 was a national development plan introduced in 1991 by 10 by then Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. The vision aimed to transform Malaysia into a fully developed nation by the year 2020. This transformation was not limited to economic progress alone, but was intended to encompass all key dimensions of national development, including economic, political, social, spiritual, psychological, and culture aspect. Vision 2020 reflected a holistic approach to nation building, emphasizing both material advancement and the development of a united, moral, and progressive society. Hi, my name is Nukharinisa binti Jasmine. So we're going to start with the advantages of Vision 2020 in Malaysia. So for the first point is economic development. Malaysia experienced strong economic growth throughout the 90s and 20s, largely influenced by Vision 2020's emphasis on industrialization, technological advancement, and global competitiveness. A key initiative during this period was the creation of the Multimedia Super Corridor MSC, a special economic zone designed to position Malaysia as a regional hub for information and communication technology ICT. This project successfully attracted foreign direct investment (FDI) and supported the growth of local tech companies, contributing significantly to the country's transition from an agriculture based to a more diversified, knowledge driven economy. Vision 2020 also encouraged investment in infrastructure, manufacturing, and service, laying the foundation for sustained economic modernization.
Hi everyone, my name is Nur Ashura Adenin. Today I want to talk about one of the good things that came from Vision 2020 in Malaysia, and that is infrastructure growth. Vision 2020 was a big plan to help Malaysia become a strong and modern country. Because of this plan, the government built many important places. For example, we got the Kuala Lumpur International Airport, which help connect Malaysia to the rest of the world. We also have Putrajaya, which is now the new government city. It has modern buildings and help the government work better. Another big project was the Multimedia Super Corridor, which helped bring in new technology and companies. All of these things show that Malaysia was moving forward and becoming more modern. So in short, Vision 2020 helped our country grow by building better places and services for everyone. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Rajadina Akila, and today I would like to talk about the third advantage of Vision 2020 in Malaysia, which is human capital investment. So, before we get to the main point, let's talk about what is the definition of human capital investment. Well, human capital investment actually refers to the effort made to improve the skills, knowledge, experience, and health of people to increase their productivity and economic value. There are actually four aspects when it comes to human capital investment. One is education and training. Second is healthcare. Third is on the job experience. Fourth is soft skills development. So, for this one, I would like to explain about the first aspect, which is education and training. Without further ado, let's look at the slide. Vision 2020 emphasized education and skills development to expand access to higher education and focusing on science and technology. For example, UNIMAS and UMS were established to improve access and initiatives like smart schools to promote technology in classrooms. So, as you all know, Malaysian education system and development is still an ongoing process because, as we all know, SMK and SK, which is Sekolah Kebangsaan or Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan, has known to have limited access to technology. The only thing that is in the ca- the only technology that has been in the classroom is a projector, which is used to present slides for education. But other than that, there are no other technology that has been going on in the schools. We are also aware that public schools cannot bring phones to school as it can be a distraction to the students, such as playing games in class or scrolling to TikTok or social media. But at the same time, we are also known as an outdated education system because most of the country, such as America, Korea, China, has been known to have daily technology use in the classroom every day as it considers learning in the future. So you guys might be wondering, why is human capital investment is so important? Well, as you all know, human capital investment can lead to higher productivity where the students can be productive if they have access to technology in the classroom. Other than that, they can also have a better job performance or better focused performance in the class. It can also become an increased income and economic growth to innovate and have more competitiveness in business and nation. That is why human capital investment is all about making people better at what they do, which benefit both individual and society. That is all from me. I will pass it on to the next slide.
Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Fatima Azara and I'm one of the group members. Today I will be presenting about the advantages and disadvantages of Vision 2020 in Malaysia. My first slide is advantages of Vision 2020 in Malaysia. My point is national unity goals. Vision 2020 aims to build a united and progressive Malaysian society. It focuses on promoting harmony and providing equal opportunities for all ethnic groups. One strong example is the concept of Bangsa Malaysia, which is encourage a shared national identity that went beyond ethnic divisions.
Hello everyone, my name is Nur Balkisha Ilham and today I'm going to talk about the point global image for the advantages of Vision 2020 in Malaysia. So, one of the major advantages of Vision 2020 was how it boosted Malaysia's global image. The initiative projected Malaysia as a forward-thinking, modern and ambitious country to the world stage. A great example of this was when Malaysia hosted the 1998 Commonwealth Games. It was the first time an Asian country had ever hosted the event, and it was a huge success. The Games not only showcased Malaysia's advanced infrastructure, but also its ability to organize a world class international event. This significantly elevated Malaysia's reputation globally, proving that the country was capable of more than just economic growth, but also cultural and logistical excellence. As a result, more countries began to see Malaysia as a rising player in the global arena, attracting investors, tourists, and international partnerships.
So, we're done at the advantages of Vision 2020. So, now let's take a look at the disadvantages of Vision 2020. For the first point is unmet goals. Despite notable progress, Malaysia did not fully achieve the status of a developed nation by 2020 as outlined in Vision 2020. Several challenges hindered the realization of its goals, including economic inequality, political instability, and persistent social divisions. One of the major setbacks was the income gap between urban and rural population, as well as disparities among different ethnic groups, which limited inclusive growth and national unity. In addition,
Frequent changes in political leadership and governance issue disrupted policy continuity and long-term planning. These structural problems reveal that while Malaysia advanced in infrastructure and economic development, more effort was needed in addressing deep-rooted social and institutional challenges.
Now, let's talk about one of disadvantages of Vision 2020, and that is inequality. While Vision 2020 helped Malaysia grow in many ways, not everyone got the same benefit. Some people and places were left behind, especially those living in rural areas. For example, in Sabah and Sarawak, many people didn't have a good access to education, healthcare, or job opportunities. This is very different from places like Kuala Lumpur or Penang, where the services are much better and easier to get. This shows that even though the country was developing, not all parts of Malaysia were growing at the same speed. Some communities, especially in the countryside, still face problems and didn't enjoy the same improvement as big city. So, while Vision 2020 had many goals, it also showed us that we need to work harder to make sure everyone, no matter where they live, get equal chance in life. Thank you.
Moving on to the third disadvantage of Vision 2020 is over-ambitious planning. Before we look at the slide, let's look about what is the definition of over-ambitious planning. So, over-ambitious planning means creating plans or goals that are too large, unrealistic, or difficult to achieve within the available time, resources, or capabilities. It also refers to setting targets or creating strategies that are beyond what is practical or achievable, often due to excessive optimism or underestimation of challenges. Without further ado, let's look at the slides. So, some Mission 2020 goals were too idealistic and lack realistic planning. For example, Malaysia aimed to be a high income nation by 2020 was very ambitious, but without enough focus on technology, education, and skills development, we cannot have the high income nation. So, as you guys may know, that is actually one of a big problem because it can lead to failure or underachievement by wasting time and resources. It also demotivates people when the goals aren't met because of the lack of ambition. Lack of goals. Other than that, it can damage credibility and trust to the citizens. So, you guys might be wondering if we have an over ambitious planning, what kind of planning should we use? Well, the better alternative is to have a SMART goal, also known as specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So, with using the SMART goals method, we can actually achieve our ambitious goal with no problem. That is all from me. Let's move on to the next slide.
Next is disadvantage of Vision 2020 political challenges. However, Vision 2020 also faced major challenges, political change and corruption weakened its progress. For example, instability after the 1997 economic crisis disrupt long-term planning. Corruption and poor fund management also reduce public trust and slow down development.
While Vision 2020 brought many advancements, it also had its downsides, especially in terms of environmental impact. To keep up with rapid industrial and economic growth, Malaysia saw large-scale deforestation during the 1990s. Forests were cleared mainly for palm oil plantations and timber extractions. This aggressive development caused serious environmental issues. Natural habitats were destroyed, leading to the loss of biodiversity and threatening wildlife species. In addition, forest burning contributed to severe air pollution, which affects both the environment and public health. So, Although Vision 2020 aimed for progress, it also came at a cost to Malaysia's natural ecosystem.
Before we end our presentation for today, which is about disadvantage and advantage of Vision 2020 in Malaysia, let's look at the conclusion. So, in conclusion, Vision 2020 was a bold plan that boosted Malaysian growth in many areas like the economy, infrastructure, and education. However, it didn't fully achieve its goals of becoming a developed nation due to the issues like inequality, politics, and unrealistic goals. Still, it laid a solid foundation for future progress and continues to shape national policies. So, based on the conclusion that I have set in the slide, we can see that Malaysia actually achieved many goals except the three of it, which is inequality, politics, and unrealistic goals. However, we wish the best for Malaysia to be known as a worldwide country, not just because of the multicultural and the multi-religion that we have, but more than that. So for that, I will end this presentation. Thank you.